Sorry, JJ.
How y'all doing? Good. Welcome to the Governor's Mansion. Remember, for today, the Governor's in charge of weather. That's something good right here. Yes. Appreciate you, man. You all set?
All set.
I'll turn my phone off for a second.
Always a good idea.
Well, thank everybody for being here. I want to start out by thanking Josh with TPS USA for being here and thank him for his leadership and everything that he has helped to accomplish across the country as well as here in the state of Texas. And obviously, I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor, who will be sharing more about what he's done, but I'll thank him now and thank him also later for his unique and extraordinary support and contribution to this entire effort. Also want to thank all of the TP USA members from all the different organizations from Texas who join with us, as well as TP USA officials and others from across the country. To everybody from outside of the great state of Texas, welcome to the Texas Governor's Mansion. Also, I am especially proud of all of the Club America high school clubs and chapters, many of whom have leaders standing behind me right now. What they are doing on our high school campuses is truly transformative. This morning, I had the opportunity to speak with Erica Kirk, and we talked about Charlie's passion for working with the youth of America, and in particular, his pride about what was being achieved in Texas. She told me stories about how he came home telling her about how proud he was to see the growth of the number of chapters here in the state of Texas. And I told her what I'll share with you, and that is there is, I think, no moment in this century that we've had an organization as powerful as TPUSA. And also, there's been no moment in time during the course of this century when there was such an urgency and such a need for an organization like TPUSA. They've helped to restore moral clarity, restore constitutional principles, and to restore our founding values. What they've done is put America right back on the right course, starting with maybe the most important thing that we could start with, and that is with our youth in our high schools and our colleges. I want to thank, and we all thank, Charlie Kirk for spurring this movement and then expanding it all across our country. And we're so proud to say that Texas is taking the lead in expanding what Charlie Kirk did right here in Texas. And what they're doing is far more than just their prolific programs that we see in our colleges and universities. What is heartwarming for me about the future of our state is the fact that Texas ranks #1 in America for the most high school Club America TPUSA programs of any state in the United States of America. Already, more than 500 high schools have chapters. And with what Lieutenant Governor Patrick is doing, what the state is doing, will expand upon that. I do want to share a word that I also told Erica about, that I will double down at this time. And that is, as TPUSA, as Club America seeks to expand chapters in schools across the state, let me be clear. Any school that stands in the way of a Club America program in their school should be reported immediately to the Texas Education Agency, where I expect meaningful disciplinary action to be taken place for any stoppage of TPUSA in the great state of Texas. So once again, I'm so grateful for the young men and women behind me and their peers across our state for stepping up and identifying themselves as the future leaders of the Lone Star State. And I'm grateful for the legacy investment made by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and for his passion for this organization.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you all for being here. And these fabulous, this is the future generation. This is what makes me feel good about America and about Texas, because we have young men and women all across Texas and across America and around the world who want to be part of what Charlie Kirk started. I will tell you that we're number one, and we want to be number one, Governor, where no one can even catch us, because we have more campuses than just about any one. We want a campus, a chapter on every high school campus and every college campus in Texas, and that's our goal, and we're going to accomplish that goal because I know we have TPUSA working with us, and we have Texans who want to be part of that. I will tell you that, Governor, this kind of came out of nowhere to me. My grandson, who's now a freshman in a high school, didn't know much about Charlie Kirk, and neither did his friends until that terrible day. And they decided they wanted to be part of that. And they now have one of the biggest clubs already in the state. And that really woke me up to the fact that Charlie's message of freedom and liberty and faith, of which he really focused on in these last several years, is really resonating with young men and women across Texas and across America. Personally, I knew Charlie, as I know the governor did early on, because Governor, Texas, strong, faith-based state, conservative, we love liberty, we love freedom, and we're able to raise a lot of money in Texas. And so he would come here often when he was starting. And over the years, the dream that he had got bigger and bigger and bigger. And along the way, you became governor, I became governor, and our path got bigger and bigger and bigger. And we stayed in touch, but I had not seen the incredible work that Charlie had done in such a short time. And so I was talking to Josh and some of the executives at Turning Point saying, what can I do to help? We want one on every campus. And I had not planned, this is what the governor is referring to. The Bible says, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, but what he's referring to is I decided to make a contribution that I had not planned. At the end of that phone call, when I told him a story that I remember so well, it was on the date of the inauguration in 2017 for President Trump, and we were going to the Trump Hotel to celebrate. And Charlie, who I had known in those years when he was starting out, was holding the door. I just happened to walk in with him. He was holding the door, and he had some very nice things to say about me and about Texas and how proud he was. And he said, I want to share my dream with you. So in the chaos of what was going on in the lobby of the Trump Hotel that night, we sat there on a couch, and he told me, Governor, his dream, which a lot of people doubted could ever happen. How could you go to tables like this, on campuses like this, one-on-one, and share your values and have people come up and listen? How could you sit at tables like this and talk with people who disagreed with you, but in a very Christian way, in a very mature way, in a very respectful way? He talked to those who were against him the most. And he at least got them thinking, and many changed their views, and of course many came because they believed in his views, and they came to join Turning Point because they knew this, but they didn't know where to go. They didn't have a group to talk to. They didn't have a group to meet with. So Charlie did so much. And on that call, as we were talking, I just remembered that night like it was yesterday, sitting on the couch, talking to him about his future. And I thought, the Lord just put on my heart, let's make a contribution and pay it forward, because Charlie made the ultimate sacrifice, Governor, for what he believed. You know, we need combatants in this world to stand up for what's right. We should not be ashamed to talk about the things we believe in. We should not be ashamed to talk about our faith, no matter what faith that may be. And Charlie did that, and it cost him his life. So the least we can do for Charlie is to carry on his dream and his legacy. And I know, because of Turning Point and Charlie Kirk, that Texas will be a greater state in the future than it ever would have been without him. And America will be a better place than it ever would have been if not for Charlie Kirk. So I'm just honored to work with you, and the governor and I, we're going to do everything that we can to be sure Texas leads the world in chapters right here in Texas.
Very good.
Josh?
Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Tifo. I've been with Turning Point since I met Charlie at a Tea Party rally in 2014. He walked up to me and he said, I just started this thing called Turning Point USA in my garage. I'm going to make it cool to be a conservative. Why don't you join me? And saying yes that day was one of the best decisions I ever made. He spoke to a crowd smaller than this, trying to convince them that you could actually convince a young person to be conservative. In the Obama years, that sounded crazy. Fast forward 10 years, and Charlie's seemingly overnight success with the youth vote in 2024, which was largely also due to the work of Tyler Boyer back there, the head of our political operations. That was the result of 12, 13 years of sitting at tables like this. And in the early years, very few people would come out. And year after year after year, he showed up and he brought the truth. So a couple weeks before he passed, he spoke to the board, to some executives, and he gave us a charge. He charged us to put 20,000 Club America chapters all over the country. He was sick of this idea in the American psyche that when you became a teenager, that's when you left the faith. That's when you became liberal. It's almost like conservative parents were scared of that. And he had an idea. What if we create an inverse culture? What if Club America at every high school in the country is where you learn about Jesus, where you learn about the founding of the country, where you learn that you should value marriage and family? And he wanted to get them in high school. We have an amazing college program. We're on almost every major and mid-sized college in all 50 states. But we were only on 1,200 high schools the day that he passed. I am proud to report that 3 months later, we are now on 3,000 high schools across the country. And to see what both of you are doing for us today, it gives me so much hope for the future of Texas, because the biggest problem that we have when we start these groups is not finding students who are interested. Our biggest problem is that as soon as that 15, 16-year-old gets interested, they get bullied. Teachers and administrators tell them, if you do this, then you might get a bad grade. If you do this, I'm not going to write a letter of recommendation for you. And it's pretty easy to bully a 14, 15-year-old, and that disgusts me. That should not be the country we live in. So what you are doing will have a seismic effect in our growth. So right now, we have you said 500, it's 500 now. The update a couple weeks ago was 300. We have 500 Club America chapters on the state of Texas. There's no reason why that number can't be 2,000, 3,000.
Right.
And we shouldn't just talk about Charlie's dream as something we should chase, some type of out-of-reach goal that just get our team to work harder. Why not have a Club America chapter on every high school in Texas? Yeah. That's the type of state that you want to live in. And because of both of you, we have a real shot at that. And I also have to say a word about Erica Kirk. Watching her step up days after her husband's assassination, ensuring that we would continue in that same direction as an organization, had a seismic cultural impact. And another thing she did had a seismic cultural impact when she forgave her husband's killer at the memorial. That could have played out very different for the culture. There's no reason why this couldn't have been our BLM and all the politicians got riled up and we used this to turn out votes in the midterm. And that is not what happened. Erica turned the heart of the nation to God when she forgave her killer. And we are seeing that revival play out in young America and in all America right now. And praise God for that. I appreciate you guys so much. What better way to honor Charlie than to fulfill the final mission he gave us, which is to put 20,000 Club America chapters on high schools across the country. So God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Governor, can I add one last note?
Sure.
The president had appointed me as chair of his Commission on Religious Liberty, and we had a hearing scheduled that happened right after we lost Charlie. And we played a clip of Charlie before the first hearing, and we had Hutz Hertzberg from Turning Point to give testimony that day. But Charlie, and I know Mike Morath is our chair, our Commissioner of Education, somewhere I saw him in the crowd. And Charlie said, and everyone at Turning Point knows this, but I had not seen him be so descriptive. He said, we're failing our next generation if we don't teach them in our schools before they leave. Where did they come from? And why are they here? And where are they going? If you don't know where you came from and what purpose God has for you in life and where you're heading, you're lost. And that may be, of all the things that Charlie said, one of the most profound, straightforward, simple things I've ever heard. And that should be our mission in our schools with our State Board of Education, with our Commissioner of Education.
Very good. All right, we'll take a few questions.
Governor, what do y'all say to maybe families who see this and see this as the state endorsing or mandating a political cause when they want politics out of school? What do y'all say to that? To say it's not the state shocking that students be the ones who say it?
So, and I'll let Josh correct me here if I'm wrong about this, but what a lot about Club America and TPUSA is not in a particular political party or anything like that. As I articulate, listen, this is about values. This is about constitutional principles. This is about a restoration of who we are as a country. And I'll take a step further and make this clear. I went to public schools here in the state of Texas. When I went to Duncanville High School, I was a member of the Fellowship for Christian Athletes. FCA still exists today. You can have religious organizations that focus on those values like that that are allowed in our schools. And this is just another more modern example of Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
You would endorse this, say if it wasn't TPUSA, let's say if it was a more left-leaning, liberal, progressive group, would you endorse the same kind of initiative that y'all were announcing?
So to be clear, it's highly unlikely I would endorse it. But it doesn't mean that it would not be legal for it to be on a campus. It's not really impacted by that bill. Not that I'm aware of yet. The person who would know that is Mike Morath. I don't see where he is, but.
We don't have any complaints yet, but if we do, we will investigate.
No complaints yet, but if one does arise, they will investigate.
Last question.
All right, well, going back to what I said about Fellowship of Christian Athletes, there has been a connection among student groups in our public schools going back now for well over 50 years. And this is just a modern day version of that, but it's actually so much more because of what it's seeking to achieve. And so this is a way of making sure that the students who attend schools, they get input from a wide array of different perspectives. They're going to have the option to choose the perspective that is articulated so well by TPUSA. But if you want to add to that, feel free.
I think we need to ask ourselves what type of society we want to live in. We have no problem when the Boys and Girls Club is growing in a community and wants to do social good. Club America is fundamentally a social good for Texas. Is it a good or a bad thing if young men and women want to work hard and get married young and have lots of kids? Is it a good or bad thing for young men and women to understand the founding of the country, to understand that we were founded as a Christian nation and then live as such? I am so proud of the history of our country and the way that we have protected the First Amendment. And that is why on public schools across the state, there are leftist clubs allowed to meet and there are conservative clubs allowed to meet. But let me tell you, amongst Gen Z, especially young Gen Z, the conservative clubs are 10 times more popular right now.
Yes, and let me just add to it. It's one of the reasons that we passed and the governor signed Senate Bill 10, which puts the 10 Commandments back in our schools. And it's my understanding, Commissioner, I don't know if you know for sure, we're maybe around 50% that we have the 10 Commandments, because it's done by organizations or individuals who go to the schools, and the schools are required to put them in the classrooms. And we passed Senate Bill 11, which allows for prayer time. And again, we're primarily a Christian nation, but we respect all faiths, and we want to allow that child to have that time if they wish. I've always to pray, to have a moment with the Lord. I've always thought how confused our kids must be when we take them to church and Sunday school every week, and then on Monday they can't recognize the God that they love. And what parent really wants to say to their child, I want you in a school that doesn't teach values? That should be what parents do want. And those values are important. And the things that Josh talked about of family and faith and children, all of these are important. And they have been under attack in America for a long time. And that's why Charlie's message is resonating, because people want a purpose for their life. They want to know where they've been, why they're here, and where they're going.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Also,
Thank you again.